Everything you desire is waiting for you to claim it. There's no creating involved, only invention through imagination and building through action. You are at the center of all your desires, dreams, and achievements. Welcome to Designing Your Life Today, the podcast that's all about your success, achieving your goals, building wealth through your business, and building your most passionate, powerful, magnificent life. Discover ways to use your purpose to connect you to serving others and living your dreams. I am Pat Council, and I know you are built by design to win. And it all begins with knowing how to tap into your success energy. Let's get on the path of discovery, decisive action, development, and unwavering dedication to your life's calling. It's time to embark on a transformative journey where your deepest passions become your most rewarding achievements. Embrace your power to shape your destiny, because this is your moment to do life with power. Hello, Power Up Nation. I'm Pat Council, and on Designing Your Life Today, this is our Thriving Thursday, where I share business tips, sales, marketing, tips that will move you forward in your business. And speaking of moving forward, that's our topic for today. 5 ways to move forward in your business. Okay, so what is the big deal about moving forward? Well, first of all, that answer is obvious. The big deal is that if you're moving forward, that means you are serving a lot of people. You are marketing your business and getting the recognition that you would like your business to have, as well as recognition for yourself. And you are bringing in some seriously large amounts of revenue. All right, so let's talk about how do you get that going and how do you get it started. So I'm going to share 5, and as usual, I might throw in a bonus, but we'll see. Okay, so with that being said, if you want to move forward in your business, here's number 1. Make a decision that you are not going to quit. Make the decision that you're not going to give up. You know, most people don't like the word discipline, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Discipline can help you to stay the course, and discipline can bring you great rewards. Now, on my YouTube channel, I said I was going back on YouTube, and I am coming back on YouTube live. But before I actually show up live, I wanted to put a video out there about understanding power, love, and a sound mind, because that's a lot about what the page is going to be about. I'm sharing how you can become successful in every area of your life by understanding power, love, and a sound mind. And it comes from the scripture, 2 Timothy 1:7. And that scripture says that God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind, which a sound mind is connected to your discipline and it's connected to your faith. So with that being said, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, by all means, go over to YouTube. I will put the link in the show notes, because that is the beginning of something great. Well, what's coming, the rest of what's coming to the page. All right, so let's keep going. So as I said, you want to make a decision not to quit, because when you make that decision, that's going to activate your discipline. What comes with discipline is faith. You have a vision for your business. You have a direction that you'd like to go in with your business. You have a certain amount of money you want to earn, and a number of people that you would like to serve. And sometimes it doesn't always work out the way you would hope initially, but that's where your decision not to quit and your discipline kicks in, because that is connected to your faith, and that's going to keep you going. So, number 1, make a decision not to quit. Number 2, once you make the decision not to quit, Make sure you are doing the work. A lot of times people want to quit in their business is because they're not doing the work. They've decided that, oh, you know what, this isn't working, but the reality of it is they're not working it. So you have to also make that decision that you are going to do the work. So when you're thinking that nothing works for you, turn that around or ask yourself the question, am I working for the something? Okay, so if you're doing the work and you have exhausted yourself and you're being honest about the fact, and of course you're going to be honest, but if you're being honest about the fact that you're doing the work and you're not getting a return, then that's an indication that you need some additional education in that area. We're not talking about going to college, but you may need to learn something more, or you may need to hire someone to help you with your business in areas where you're not strong. So with that being said, think about that. If you need to learn something more, that's where business coaches come in. You can talk to a business consultant. You can take a business course online. And the reason why I'm recommending a business course online is because they are short for the most part. Okay, so you don't have to go and take a full semester in college just to learn something that you perhaps could have learned in less than a week. Now, I'm not discouraging you from going to college to study business because, well, I've been to college, so I'm not going to talk people out of going, but I will say this: get what you need to get by learning what you need to learn. So, number 2 is be sure that you are, in fact, doing the work. Okay, number 3, stay away from these super smart pessimists. Okay, so what's a super smart pessimist? These are people who are giving you excuses to quit. These are people who are giving you their opinion. Sometimes they think it's a professional opinion because they feel like they know more about this area than you. Or sometimes it could be a family member or a friend, and they're telling you things like, oh, the market is so saturated. Well, the timing wasn't right. You probably should have waited. These kinds of things. So you want to just stay away from that. What you need is what I call honest cheerleaders. I mean, we all need a cheerleading section, but an honest cheerleading section is better. In other words, you want people who will cheer you on, who will encourage you, but they have expertise in certain areas that you may need, and they can share some solutions that will help you to move forward. So when you're having a problem in your business, if you're not moving forward, then choose the people that surround you, choose your circle wisely. Okay. Get an informed cheerleading section, and stay away from, I guess you could call them informed pessimists, or these pessimistic people who think that they know the answers. Number four is this is something that's normal in business, especially if you're in a business that you have never done before. You're learning something new. Be prepared to get angry with yourself. Be prepared or with someone else. Be prepared to be upset. Be prepared to take what I call the 3-second moments of feeling down about what's going on in your business, or a little sad, and then get over it. Be prepared for these things to happen. So when you become a little bit agitated about something, or even to the point of frustration, this is actually not a negative sign. Frustration is necessary for growth. So why is frustration necessary for growth? Because when frustration happens, that's an indication that in your mind, you're thinking, you know what, I am so close, or I'm right there, or I know there's an answer, or I really feel like I can do this. And all of the above is true. So it's sending you a message that you are right there knocking on success's door. Perhaps you just need to change your approach and shift your focus. from, let's say, being more problem oriented to more solution oriented. So when we're frustrated, that tells us that we need to go in search of solutions. And a lot of times people confuse frustration with thinking that, okay, this means that I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I should just give up. Maybe I should quit. It should not be this hard. That's not necessarily true. Okay. And it means that there's something that you must learn. Take the time to learn it. And if you say, you know what, I don't have any solutions, this is the beautiful part about your circle. Not necessarily a bunch of cheerleaders or honest cheerleaders. They're good, but you also want to have some professionals in your corner that you can ask their opinion, or you can have a conversation with them, or find some people that you can connect to who has been there and done that. And they're willing to train you or spend some time with you or just be there for you. So if you're frustrated, that does not mean that you should give up. Learn to tolerate the frustration. Learn to tolerate discomfort. Learn to actually tolerate negative feelings. But when you tolerate the negative feelings, you don't just let the feelings just stay there and go, okay, it'll pass. Your negative feelings are trying to send you a message. Again, it's trying to tell you you're doing it wrong. You need to change your approach. We don't like to hear that we're doing something wrong. We don't like to feel as though we don't have all the answers or that we don't know it all. But the reality of it is none of us have all the answers. And that is a part of your growth process. And so this is kind of, while I do like artificial intelligence, you can go to artificial intelligence or AI and ask for some solutions. And a lot of times the solutions, they may be correct. But the other side to that coin is, if you're thinking, I don't have to be frustrated, listen, what I want to suggest to you is you try and come up with some solutions of your own before you go running to artificial intelligence. And then you can go and ask AI if you're just that stuck. Okay. Now me, while I use AI in my business, I do prefer to connect with live human beings because I get very good answers and I'm able to communicate on what I call an energetic level. Okay, because while AI, everything is energy, but when you're talking human to human energy, we're talking excitement comes with that. We're talking certainty comes with that. And we're talking experience that comes from a person who has been there, done that. And so think about these things. And so I prefer to use both, if you will. Number 5, and this one I think is a very big deal. Stop seeking approval. I know you may have heard this or read this many times over, but stop seeking approval. Stop waiting for someone else to tell you to make a move, and stop turning your confidence over to someone else because you think that they're more confident than you or smarter than you, and you are allowing yourself to feel inferior. First of all, remind yourself that, wait a minute, I'm the CEO of a business. How awesome is that? Secondly, I had the courage to step out here on faith and build a business. And so when you're talking to someone, you want to take your confidence with you. And if you feel so certain that what you're doing, that you are on the right track, you just need a little bit of insight to kind of get you over the little hurdle there, then stick with that. And it's okay to tell a person, you know what? Oh, everything you're saying is great, but I'm going in this direction. This is what I would like to do. So what I would like you to do is give me some insight about this and be specific. You don't have to argue with them because it's your business. You don't have to back down. You don't have to, I guess, pass your confidence over to them or let them usurp your confidence. You don't have to do any of that. Okay. You started that business. Be confident enough to own it. Okay. Own the business, own your confidence, and don't worry about getting someone else's approval. I can't tell you the number of people that I've met, let's say throughout my adult life, who when they stepped out to do something that they truly believed in, where it worked, and they were told by family and friends that it wasn't going to work, or that it was ridiculous. And as a matter of fact, I mean, I went through that myself when I first got into real estate years ago, and I was told that I must be crazy because I had a college degree and I was on my way to law school. And so I was told, are you kidding? You're going to, instead of being a lawyer, you're going to get into real estate and starve? You must be crazy. Well, I didn't starve. As a matter of fact, I did really well. I excelled in that business. So what I'm saying is, you don't always need someone else's approval when in your heart of hearts, you know this is the business for you. What you have to do is commit to that business. Go back to number one, make the decision. I'm not going to quit. Number one was make that decision that you are not going to quit. Bring your discipline with you. Bring your faith with you. Okay. And see, here's the thing. A lot of times we think when we're going to business that we have to know it all, that we have to have all the answers. And we get embarrassed if we make a mistake or if we don't know something. And so we keep it to ourselves. You do not have to do that. There is no shame in not knowing everything. I can tell you guys right now, all the successes that I've had in my business, whenever I was stuck, I had no problem either picking up the phone or going to see someone that I knew who could actually help me keep moving forward. I had no problem doing that. And the reason why I had no problem doing that is because I didn't make it all about me and my ego. I didn't think, oh my goodness, they're going to think I'm dumb. Oh my goodness, they're going to think, why are you even in this? But that never occurred to me. What I thought was, you know what, that person can help me. That person can give me some answers, and I'm going to go. And I don't care what they think, as long as, they help me. And when it came to the coaches that I hired, you know what? I didn't try to be smarter than the coach. Okay. And it didn't mean I had to always agree with the coach, but I knew that during the time that I was with that coach, that was not the time for me to sit and argue. That was the time for me to learn what I needed to learn. Okay. Move my ego out of the way, learn what I needed to learn, and then make a decision, the final decision, as it relates to my business for me, or make the final decision myself as to how I was going to run that business. But make no mistake about it. I didn't wait for someone else's approval, but I also didn't shy away from learning something new or learning what someone wanted to teach me. Basically, to make the long story short, I approved of me, the person I saw in the mirror. I uplifted myself. And yes, I did have my informed cheerleaders and all of that. But there are times when, in spite of your circle, your inner circle, you still have to look in that mirror and you have to tell yourself, it's not about giving yourself this pep talk to say, oh, you're great, you're wonderful. All right, that's good. It makes you feel good, I guess. But it's also about telling yourself, you know what, you can do this. You just have to buckle down and learn what you need to learn. You have to move your ego out of the way. And you don't have to pretend that you already know the answers when in fact you don't. So that's kind of a pep talk in my mind as well. Okay, so as we wrap up, I'm just going to give you one more as a bonus. Listen, when you're working on moving your business forward, don't listen to everyone. Okay. When you listen to everyone, what happens is you get frozen and you don't get anything done. And the reason why you don't get anything done is because your confidence, it takes a hit. Everybody else is telling you that they think they're helping, but what they're really doing is they're telling you that you're doing it wrong. Okay. And when you have all these people telling you that you're doing it wrong, and you get 5 different answers and 5 different directions that you should go in, that would prove that you're doing it right to them, that makes you think, wow, well, maybe I shouldn't be in this business at all. So pick one person. And while they might not tell you you're doing it wrong or in those words, but they will give you some suggestions that will send you down the right path. And that's the thing that you want to consider, because when we listen to everyone, it's like if 5 people were screaming at you. Finally, what happens is the person goes, okay, I give up. And they just kind of shut down. And this is the same thing that can happen to you that will prevent your business from moving forward. So pick that person that you're going to listen to, your coach, your mentor, pick someone. Okay, but here's the caveat. Pick the person who knows what they're talking about. I always tell people, and when they ask me, well, how should I choose a mentor, or how should I choose a coach? I said, well, first of all, stop picking people who do what I call straddle the fence. Straddle the fence is they have a job, but at the same time, they're in a business. And they're acting like they're successful in that business when in fact they may not be. Okay, so I am not a fan of that. Don't get me wrong. It's okay. I'm not a fan of the side hustle, but don't get me wrong. We've got to start somewhere. What I'm saying is, if those people are starting from that somewhere point, that those are perhaps not the people that you want to take your advice from. You want to take your advice from somebody who is all in when it comes to their business. And the reason why is because if they're all in when it comes to their business, they're going to give you all in answers, and you're going to get all in results when it comes to your business. So pick somebody who is fully committed to their business, because they have reached that level. They've earned that. Okay. So I just want to point out again, I'm not a fan of side hustles, but I'm not against side hustles, because we all have to start from somewhere. And sometimes people have to take a job because they want to bring in extra money to do something. And that's fine. But what I'm saying to you, if you're going to pick someone as a mentor, or someone to provide you with answers that's going to help you get to where it is you want to be, you need to pick somebody who has already gotten beyond that point. They're beyond that phase. Okay, so they are in it to win it when it comes to their business. They are all in. It's not a side hustle for them. So that means that they have gone through all of the challenges that they're going to go through to reach the level that they've reached at that point. That does not mean they're not future challenges. But what I'm saying is, you're coming along. So the challenges that you're going to go through, they've most likely been through those challenges. So that's perhaps the person you want to listen to. But do not listen to everyone who has an opinion, who thinks that they're an expert and they have nothing to show for it. And so that's actually 5 tips plus a bonus. And as we wrap up here, you guys, I just want to remind you that it is so important that you invest in learning, that you invest in yourself. We're talking personal growth. We're talking business growth, especially if you are building a business and you want that business to move forward. You need the personal growth so that you can activate what you already have inside. As it says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. So how do you activate that power that's in you? You have to learn how to do that if it's not working for you. You have to learn what it really means to activate power, love, and of course, how to use that sound mind, and how to even activate your discipline when it comes to moving forward in your business, doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, or when you said you would do it, and getting that thing done. Now, there's always a caveat to those kinds of things. There are times when you say you're going to do something and you give a time or a date and it doesn't exactly play out that way. I've had that happen to me. And it's for 2 reasons. Number one, I've decided, okay, don't announce it until you've ironed out all the kinks. So that's the first thing. And number 2, if it doesn't happen on that date, it's because there was an unavoidable kink, in which case it means it's going to carry over to perhaps another date, and we're going to get those kinks ironed out as soon as possible. So those are the 2 things. So with that being said, take a look at your life. Ask yourself the right questions. If you ask the right questions, you'll get the right answers. If your business is not moving forward the way you would like it to move forward, then don't beat yourself up about it. Since you've made the decision that you're not going to quit, ask yourself the right question. So what would be a good question? A good question would be, why is my business not moving forward? Another good question would be, what can I do to make the business move forward? You have to do your part. And it's not always, especially if you know a business really well, and if you say, I know what to do, why am I not doing it? Then that means you have to look at yourself from a personal standpoint, the personal growth side. People often think that, hey, if I get all these business tips and business hacks and all of this business information, I'm going to go into business and be super, super successful. Well, that's going to help you become successful. But what will guarantee that you're successful is if the business knowledge and the personal growth happens, the personal growth knowledge, if you will, if those two work together. Because you have to get to know who you are. Listen, without confidence, without faith, discipline, courage, without those things, you're not going to go very far. Without understanding the power of listening to your own soul and spirit and what that means and what that all looks like and how it sounds, then you're just going to stay what I call very static, in the sense that you're a little bit lopsided because you're focused only on what you learned as far as business goes. I can't tell you the number of people I've met who have MBAs, business degrees, and the number of people I've met who've gone into business because they were excited about something, but they didn't get knowledge on both sides. And sometimes they were afraid to just take action. Simple action. Why? Because the personal growth didn't come into play. You can look at several different successful business owners, and you will see that they invest in both. As a matter of fact, Warren Buffett, he says that's the most important thing. Now, for me, I think personal growth, investing in yourself so that you can grow personally, I think that is super important. But I want to say this to you. When I think of personal growth, I don't just think of a stack of self-help books. I think of, put it this way, I think of self-help books or certain books that you read, but I think that spiritual growth is by far at the top of the list. So that would mean I put the Bible at the top of my list. Okay. Because if I can't grow my strengthen my spirit and expand my thinking, grow my soul, okay, or prosper my soul, as the scripture says, if I can't do that by taking in the right information that God has already put here that tells us all how to be successful, if I can't do that, then that might explain where the struggle comes from. So with that being said, I have shared actually seven, if you think about it, 7 ways to move forward in business. So you guys, you can take this for what it's worth, but I would spend some time and ask yourself the right questions. Make a list of some of the things that you aren't doing, but on the other side of that page, list what you're willing to do. What are you willing to change? Okay. And you don't have to start out changing 10 things at once. Okay. You can do one thing at a time. Just make sure you do it. Okay. In the meantime, I want you guys to have a magnificent day and do life with power, knowing that you're built by design to win.